Alright guys, so I have a confession to make. In my almost 20 years of existing in its world, I have never played a Fire Emblem game. Yes, I know, it's strange. I even got asked this question like 2 years ago and said I would get on it soon, and as you can guess, I did not. Honestly, I don't even know why I never tried playing one of these games until now. I mean, I love RPGs and I like large game stories, and I've always liked Mark and Roy and Lucina and Smash Bros, so I have no clue why. Regardless, I think it's time to go out and play one, starting with one of the highest acclaimed titles in the franchise, Fire Emblem Awakening. Starting off, I really like the opening cutscene. It's fairly impressive for an early 3DS game. You get to see a lot of the characters later in the game and it feels very cinematic. One cool thing I did know about this game is how you get to customize your main character. You can choose their gender, voice, hair, and other physical appearances. The game itself starts up at the end, which is fairly unique, I'll say that. You play as two characters, and the fact that you have no idea who they are, or who they're fighting against is great. I'm not gonna try to explain every single aspect of the gameplay quite yet though, but this opening battle is a great learning experience. He goes down quite easily, and then we get a cutscene of one of the heroes congratulating the other, but out of nowhere, a strange energy impales him. After this, we go back in time to the beginning, where our main hero, Robin, is discovered by Chrom and his sister, Lisa. Robin has no idea who he is or where he came from, but is somehow able to know Chrom's name, raising the suspicion of Chrom's companion, Frederick. Nonetheless, Chrom decides to take Robin in, and soon after, a nearby town is attacked by a gang of thieves, giving us our first battle. The battle system of this game, and most other Fire Emblem games I presume, has got to be one of the most engaging battle systems of any RPG. Unlike most other RPGs where you simply choose an attack command and then attack, here you move your character around like on a chessboard, you move up to an enemy and then you attack them. If two fighters are on spaces right next to each other, then you have the ability to enhance each other's stats during combat. The amount of stats that are raised are dependent on the relationship of that certain pairing. The more you pair them up and have them fight side by side, the more stat increases they give each other. So in short, you always want each fighter to be right next to another one, especially when enemies attack. If you leave a weak fighter alone, expect them to die pretty fast is all I can say. Especially your healers, they love to attack your healers and screw you over. In most Fire Emblem games, death is permanent, but in Awakening, you can use something called casual mode. This wasn't the first game to add it though. North America it was, but it allows you to regain fallen characters once a campaign's over. And thank God this mode exists, because my characters died a lot, and I mean a lot. Like, I really sucked at this game. But hey, everyone's gotta start somewhere. So yeah, really big Fire Emblem fans and players and pros, please don't kill me in the comments, please. Another thing that's different than from other RPGs is how you don't move around in an overworld and occasionally run into enemies. Rather, here you have chapters to play that work kind of like in Kid Icarus Uprising. And they started off with a bit of a story update before the battle begins, and then there's more story afterwards, which is the whole chapter. Having a few long battles rather than a huge number of short battles that are over before you know it really engages you. You can't just blitz enemies with super powerful magic or special moves. You have to use strategy, and you have to think things over, because one wrong move could cost you a valuable team member, which might cost you the battle. Thankfully, the only team members you really have to worry about are Chrom and Robin. You can lose everyone else, but you get a game over if either of them die. Throughout the journey, you obtain more and more party members, with there being 28 total that you can obtain throughout the story. Now, you'd think having this many characters would be so many, but they wouldn't feel distinct enough or have enough of a fleshed out personality to be interesting. While there are exceptions, for the most part, most party members have a very distinct, unique, and fleshed out personality. Yes, I do think a few feel a bit boring, and getting a new fighter almost every chapter can take away some specialness, but it works out way better than I thought it would. Next, there are character classes. You have swordsmen, mages, healers, cavalry, archers, Pegasus knights, dancers, and more, with a huge amount of subclasses and variation in each main class. Each class moves differently. Some can attack from far away, some have special skills, and they all use different weapons. Mages, for instance, can use magic like fire or wind, which can deal more damage to heavily armored enemies, and they can attack from a distance. but are very physically weak and die very easily. On the other hand, you have Great Knight, which, I mean, Frederick's the only Great Knight, but he has very high attack, defense, and maneuverability. But he moves super slow and is weak to magic. Once a fighter reaches level 10, they can be promoted to a new rank with a Master Seal. Occasionally, some characters have a number of new ranks they can upgrade to, and it's up to you to decide which one you think would work best for them. Overall, it feels somewhat similar to Evolution in Pokemon, only with more freedom. If for whatever reason you decide that you don't like a certain rank, you have the option to use an item called a Second Seal, which changes a character's rank. But you do get to keep all your stat upgrades and some abilities, which is cool. One thing that sucks is how weapons break in battle after so many uses. Fortunately, you can see how many uses they have left, and you can find plenty of them all over the world. You can also buy them from item shops that pop up after you beat a level. Sometimes when you revisit a certain area, they can be flooded with zombie warriors known as Risen. You can challenge them and fight them in the same area as a previous battle, but they're overall fairly weak, making it a perfect way to grind. In terms of story, this game is a masterpiece with truly epic moments. I honestly don't think I could do it justice in this video. There's so much to talk about that I'm bound to get a bunch of stuff wrong. And since this is my first playthrough, I'll just have a brief summary. Chrom and his sister Lisa are prince and princess of the great kingdom of Isi, with their older sister Emerin being the queen. Lately, the kingdom has been attacked by raiders from a kingdom known as Plegia. You then travel to another kingdom known as Ferox, fight a lot, get their assistance, get new party members, meet a mysterious man named Marth, and then rescue the queen from an assassination attempt, with one of my favorite cutscenes of all time.
I'm about to save your life. From him. I trust this proof will suffice.
Yeah. Wait, you're a woman?
And quite the actress, too. Honestly, I'm surprised you didn't figure it out until just now.
You rescue Emerin from certain death, but then she's abducted by the Plegians anyway and held for ransom. What the king of Plegia wants is the Fire Emblem, the national treasure of the country that would grant him ultimate power. The party comes close to rescuing her without giving up the Fire Emblem, but eventually they're stopped, and Chrom is left with a choice. He can either give up the Fire Emblem or let his sister die. Before Chrom can choose though, Emerin, knowing that the Fire Emblem is too important for the Plegians to obtain, and to take heavy guilt off of Chrom's shoulders in case he chooses to refuse, she jumps from the spot she's being held at, and kills herself. Soon after, the Plegian army quickly loses morale and see themselves as the bad guys, with many deserting. Chrom and co. take this opportunity to take out the king once and for all, and the kingdom of Plegia surrenders. Chrom takes a wife, which can either be Robin if you choose to make her female, Olivia, Soli, Maribel, or Sumia. It's not random though, it depends on how often you pair him up with one of these ladies. Out of all of them, Sumia takes priority over the rest. In any case, Chrom gets married, becomes the king, has a child, and 2 years of peace pass. Soon though, one of the party members warned Chrom into cons about Walhart the Conqueror, who had just taken over the whole continent of Volm, and is trying to conquer the rest of the world. There's also a new king of Plegia, Valadar, and he agrees to send warships to help the team, but he suspiciously looks like a previously killed general of the Plegian army. There's also a mysterious man that looks exactly like Robin. Later that night, Valadar comes in and tries to take over Robin's mind, and reveals that Robin is his child. Chrom comes in to save him just in time. Later, we see Marth again, and we get an emotional moment revealing her to be Lucina. She comes from a future where the world was destroyed by the fell dragon Grima, killing everyone she loved. She came back to the past to try to save the world, and came with some companions, but got separated from them. Lastly, she says that Chrom is killed by his closest friend. After that, she joins the party and a series of battles commence, with them winning battle after battle. At the military is the goddess Tiki, She senses Grima's growth in power and states the only way to stop him is to perform the awakening ritual of the Fire Emblem. 5 stones are needed to unlock its power. Chrom has one, and Tiki has one, but the other 3 are scattered across the world. One of the Khans of Ferox gets killed by Walhart. His last wish is to give one of the stones to Chrom, and then the party goes on to defeat Walhart, and they get another stone. Soon after, Validar invites Chrom over to his kingdom to give him the final stone, but it's a trick and everyone is trapped inside the castle. They manage to fight their way out until Validar gains control of Robin and forces him to give him the Fire Emblem. Robin feels terrible about what he's done and wants Chrom to leave him behind. Chrom, on the other hand, still trusts Robin and wants him to stay. Later, Lucina comes up to Robin while he's alone. She tries to murder Robin to prevent him from killing Chrom in her future. However, in my playthrough, they got married, which I honestly didn't understand how it worked at this point, and I'll get into it later, but I'll let you know it was by complete accident. Anyway, if they are married, the scene is much more emotional. Lucina has to choose between her father and her lover. You then get a choice to either accept her fate or not. If you choose yes, Robin basically tells her that he still loves her and to do what she needs to do. Lucina is so wrapped up in emotions that she can't bring herself to kill him and breaks down in tears, begging for his forgiveness. Chrom heard every word and isn't too happy with his daughter, telling her that she's underestimated the strength of their bond. Speaking of unbreakable bonds, let's talk about one of the coolest and also weirdest aspects of the game, marriage. When you pair up 2 characters, they become closer together, and the closer they become, the more of a relationship rank rises. When a male and female character's relationship reaches S rank, they get married, and almost any male character can marry any female character. A lot of people tend to have their own ships, but to be honest, all of mine were by complete chance, for the most part at least. When 2 characters marry, a new bonus chapter is unlocked. You play that chapter, you meet one of the time travelers that got separated from Lucina, who are children of the current crew members, and you get them. Honestly, didn't get that many though, because I didn't find out about this mechanic until I was almost done with the game, but then I was burnt out, so I only got a few of them. Later, the group storms Validar as he goes to revive Grima, looking almost exactly like the battle from the start of the game. Chrom and Robin face Validar alone, while the rest of the crew take out his henchmen. Eventually, Validar is taken out, and fairly easily, and a familiar cutscene plays, ending in the same way as before. Only no, it actually was all part of Robin's plan. A Khan of West Ferox turns out to be alive. Robin's attack was too weak to hurt Chrom, with him only acting. Most of all the stones on the Fire Emblem were fake, and Validar is killed for good. But the weird person who looked like Robin from earlier is actually him from the future, and is possessed by Grima. Before even the start of the adventure, Grima tried to possess present Robin, but he was too weak and lost all his memories. He then revived the current Grima, and the calamity begins. The party makes their way up to Mount Prism, perform the awakening ritual, meet Naga, and unlock the full power of the Falchian, or Falchian, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it, honestly. She does tell the party something. If they let Chrom get the final blow, then Grima would only be sealed away for 500 years. But if Robin gets the final blow in, then Grima will be gone forever, but Robin would die. Then we have the final battle, which is hard but brief. There are hordes of enemies everywhere, but all you have to do is really just move everyone forward and move your best units to the front to reach Grima first. Then when they get there, all you have to do is just blitz him, and that's it. I let Chrom get the final blow in, and even though Grima will come back, I feel like it's a happier ending. Sure, Grima will be back, but isn't that always the case with Ganondorf too? Chrom and Robin have a moment, and then the end credits start. The credits tell the fate of the main characters, and depending on who you marry them to, and if you marry them, your life will be different. I do like this concept, and I know a lot of other Fire Emblem games have this feature. So in conclusion, Fire Emblem Awakening has become one of my favorite 3DS games of all time, which if you know anything about me is quite an achievement with my whole thing about, not liking games I just played as much as games I grew up with, but yeah, it was a solid experience all the way through. I love the characters, the gameplay, and the atmosphere. I'm kind of sad I didn't play this when I was like a teenager when I first got my 3DS. If I would have played this when I was younger, it probably would have been my favorite 3DS game, maybe one of my favorite games of all time, maybe even my top 5 favorite games of all time. I don't think it'd be my favorite at all, but I could definitely see it getting my top 10 or top 5 favorite games of all time, because Super Paper, okay, sorry about the cut, giant car drove by, but like I was saying, like if a game like Super Paper Mario could become one of my favorite games of all time, I have no doubt that this could too. I kind of want to play some more Fire Emblem games sometime, but I have a lot of other stuff to do before then, so I'll take a break for a while. Like the rest of the time, thank you for watching this. I appreciate it, and I'd really appreciate it if you could give me a like, or if you could subscribe, and leave a comment. Even a hateful comment. Well, maybe not that hateful, but I swear, good Fire Emblem players, I'm sorry for this video, I'm sorry. And I probably made a lot of mistakes, and also, I know I made a lot of mistakes, but please forgive me. That being said, hope everyone watching this has a great day, and I'll see you all next time. I have no clue what they could be talking about, but also this is the last video I've made where I'm a teenager. Yeah, I'm an adult now. Well, I've been an adult for like 2 years, but turning 20, so last video of my teen years, even though I wouldn't even consider 19 a teenager. But thought I'd throw that out there, even though no one cares. Anyway, see you all next time.